Okay, let me ask you about Tesla.
I
think
favorite
audience,
topic.
Yes, and also audience is very, very keen to know what you will be saying. I think there are three major concerns, namely softening sales, political distraction by Elon Musk, and the tariff risks. Could you walk us through those three concerns and share how seriously you view each in the context of Tesla's long-term growth outlook?
Yes, well, given the environment I just described with high-end consumer pulling back, no auto company is going to be doing very well in this period. So we do think that is an issue. We have a 5-year investment time horizon, so we'll take advantage. We post our trades every day, and you'll see we've been buying recently now that Tesla has been cut by roughly half. So we think that short term, as I mentioned, by into the second quarter and third quarter, we believe the economy is going to come out of the end of this rolling recession, surprising expectations on the high side. So that's the first thing. Politics definitely has been an issue, certainly in the news. But there are about as many Republicans as there are Democrats. And I think people forget that. They think the political dynamic will only hurt sales. Well, I know some people who are buying Teslas because to support Elon Musk because of the political dynamic. Nonetheless, it's a tough period from a macro point of view. As far as tariffs, I think Tesla's cars, those made in the United States, have more North American content, maybe not pure play US content, but more North American content than most other autos out there. So we'll see how they treat that. And of course, if they're putting tariffs on imported cars, well, all that means for Tesla in the United States is that the Fremont and Texas facility might be a little bit busier if their cars are starting to look less expensive relative to imports. So those are the three short-term question marks. There are three positives brewing at the same time. One is the Model Y refresh. And I know I'm going to be waiting a long time for my Model Y refresh because there is a long line. So they might be reducing inventories of the old Model Y and not ramping as quickly. They need to ramp faster. But nonetheless, there's demand for the new Model Y. 2, they're introducing a low-price car in the second quarter, so they say, which will be roughly half the price of a typical Model Y. So we think it'll be around 30,000 or maybe a little below. So as Elon says, he does not believe Tesla has a demand problem. Maybe a short-term macro issue, but in a secular sense, a longer-term sense, he believes that Tesla has an affordability issue. So by cutting the price by almost half, or maybe even more than half, we don't know yet, that will invite another kind of demand. And then in June, in Austin, Texas, Tesla will be launching its robo-taxi service, so commercializing it for the first time. And we're excited about that, and even more excited to understand how quickly Tesla will be able to proliferate its robo-taxi throughout the United States and maybe other parts of the world. So those are three pieces of good news right ahead. And when the robo-taxi service comes out, as more analysts take a close look at what this means, and maybe they're going to even use our model, which we give away, what they will find is Tesla will be moving from a low gross margin model. Right now, their EVs are profits in the 15 to 16% range, and they're not recurring. Right? It's one and done. He'll be moving from that model to a software as a service model with an autonomous taxi network, a platform, which will deliver recurring revenue at a gross margin of 80% plus. So the combined margin, we think, is going to be well north of 50%. Most analysts do not have that in their models, but as they study what a robo-taxi service is and how different its model is compared to a pure play EV company, we think they're going to have to change their price target expectations.
On this robotaxi commercial launch in Austin upcoming June,
Yes.
How do you envision its rollout over the next 5 years? Say, for example, how many cities or how many vehicles by 2030?
Well, we think the early stages, again, they have to walk before they run. They will have remote drivers just in the beginning, meaning drivers not in the car, but looking at these cars on a screen and just looking for trouble or obstacles or what have you.
Just in case.
Just in case, just to make sure the safety is there. Now, if we're right, according to our analysis, Tesla's FSD, so full self-driving software, will be better than a human driver at the end of this year. We think in October of this year.
Not yet, but by the end
It's
of this year.
not yet. It's better than Waymo now. Waymo has a critical intervention I think they just updated it, every 500,000 miles. A human driver on average is 700,000 miles. So Tesla and Waymo right now may be neck and neck, but we do believe that the leapfrog, that FSD, the next version, is going to will take it into a better than human driver. And that will pull it away from Waymo because it has more data, orders of magnitude more data than not only Waymo, but every autonomous vehicle or autonomous vehicle manufacturer and technology company out there. So it has more corner cases. It knows what can go wrong in the most unusual situations. And so we think that that's what will pull it ahead of human drivers. So how over the next 5 years will it roll out? Well, one of the forms of deregulation that we expect is that the regulations in the United States will evolve from state by state, so 50 regulators, to perhaps federal. Especially, of course, cars cross state lines, and that's usually when the federal government does get involved.
Isn't that President Trump was talking about?
Yes, and I think under the new Transportation Secretary Duffy, that is a goal. Because I think this administration wants to be first in the world in autonomous driving and wants to open it up to as many regions as possible, as soon as possible. Now, the infrastructure is much better on the coasts where Tesla cars today are more popular. It will take time to evolve the infrastructure internally, so the Midwest and so forth. But the opportunity then in the middle of the country will be to place charging stations where robo-taxis can travel to them. It'll be well orchestrated as opposed to what they've had to do, just be there for any driver, and that's better on the coasts. So we do think that infrastructure build out will happen. We think autonomous will be more popular on the coasts in the beginning, just because full self-driving is more popular on the coasts. And so drivers have an idea of, okay, this works. And, oh, I really like this on the highway. And now, oh, I really like it in the cities. And then they will trust it and maybe even let their own cars out on Tesla's taxi network to do some work and earn some cash flow.
So are you thinking of one by one city rollout of robotaxi, or how are you thinking?
I think we're thinking coasts first.
Okay.
So
When you say coast, East Coast and West Coast.
West
Yeah.
Coast.
Major cities, Boston, New York.
Yes,
Los
DC
Angeles,
all the
San
way down
Francisco,
into
DC.
Florida where we are, and sure. Texas as well. They have the Fremont factory, and that's where they're starting this commercialization. Florida, of course, and they'll go to states that already have good regulation in place, or feasible. And then I think for the other states that are hesitant or are more maybe Democrat and maybe politics are getting in the way, I think that the government will help solve that problem. They don't want politics to get in the way of progress and innovation by pushing the regulation up to the federal level.
So, it seems that Waymo appears to be doing, much better. I mean, it looks it's ahead of Tesla's robotaxi. You are not concerned about that?
No, we're not concerned about it. We do have a chart in our big ideas where you'll see in 2014, we listed all the companies that said they were going for the autonomous platform opportunity. And you'll see that Tesla was way too optimistic. Google actually got it right with Waymo. It was the first to commercialize in 2018. And the rest, I think there were 10 companies, they've abandoned their efforts. Tesla, of course, now was the most optimistic back then, but made the decision, I think, not to go fully autonomous, but to use its full self-driving software to collect data on the roads and collect much more data than Waymo has. Waymo has, by our estimate, 1,000 to 2,000 cars on the road throughout the United States. In the United States, Tesla probably has 4 million. I call them robots collecting data. I have 2 of them, a Model Y and a Model 3, collecting data, sending it back. So they have so much more data on real world driving. Now, Waymo, we've talked to them, I think they think that they can do the same with simulated data. We don't think so. We don't think so. So that is something we shall see. We are impressed with what Waymo has done. It broke through a lot of obstacles and actually paved the way for Tesla. They didn't have to break down those barriers. And so that's a good thing. And they actually commercialized first, but they have been very slow. And one of the reasons long-term, and you'll see this chart in our big ideas too, one of the reasons longer term that we think Tesla wins is that Waymo's cost structure is way too high.
Because